injuries. The dog's been removed to a safe place, but you're going to see an assault on an animal because I want to drive the point home. So viewer discretion advised. And he kicks the dog in the abdomen. He picks up what appears to be an accident and turns and kicks the dog. It's not even his dog. It's his living girlfriend's dog. They're together. And he takes this abusive behavior out on an innocent companion animal. The reason I say that, it brings me to a realistic example of how this makes an impact on our community. I was at a conference up in Bay City, and I was eating at a restaurant downtown Bay City, Beaver's Pub, and there's a guy named Jerry who works there. And he came over and he said, "Sheriff, I just appreciate what you're doing, especially protecting animals, because I know that if they do it to an animal, they're going to do it to," what do I say, another person. So, you know, the sheriff was kind enough to host the conference up there, but it was that exchange that drives this point home, that when somebody like Nemo does something like that, we're going to hold him accountable. He was charged with animal cruelty. He was arrested, and he was arraigned, and he's out on bond now. The point is, that's not going to go unaddressed. The next person I want to talk to you about is a very difficult case for people to hear as well. And I say that because we have a lot to discuss, but I have a great feeling that there's more victims out here, because the victims in this case, this is a 5-year break from the last assault to the time we got it reported to us. This individual is unemployed, Ernest John Wyrick II. Ernest John Wyrick II. The two young victims have been victimized since 2013. And they came forward just recently. And with the help of our friends at Voices for Children, we were able to get that information from an interview. And we were able to arrest him. And we were able to put the case together and ultimately charge him with 6 counts. David Layton's office charged him with 4 counts of CSC1, 1 count of strangulation, and 1 count of domestic violence. He's in jail as we speak. But because he's been off the grid for 5 years, between these two victims, I want you to take a good look at this guy. And if he has had any contact with any young person, or you have seen him in a position where he puts himself in contact with young people, he is aggressive. In fact, some of the assaults happened in public places. It happened in public stores. It happened in public bathrooms. And the relationship between Wyrick and the victims, it wasn't a stranger relationship. He knew the victims. But he took advantage of the places in broad daylight, in public, to harm these kids. Again, this is something that happened almost 9 years ago. There's a 5-year break. It's important that if this individual has hurt or harmed any of the ones that you know, that you come forward. You can call 911. You can call the sheriff's office. We have a lot of people that try to communicate with direct message, but we have so many messages that come in. I'd rather you call 911 or 810-257-3422. 810-257-3422, because these are the kinds of people that I know don't stop. They don't stop because there's no incentive to stop. But now, he's under arrest, he's in custody. Let's try to help some victims have a voice. In our briefings, we also like to be very conscientious to let you know what's going on in the life of a sheriff's office here in Genesee County over the last several days. So I pull out different interesting stats. And I want to tell you, even though school's over, just in the last 6 days, we responded to 4 school threats. And because of what happened in Uvalde and, of course, over at Tops Supermarket and what we're seeing at different places, you cannot let off your focus on protecting public environments, even though schools are let out. There's still plenty of places that danger can happen that we've got to be vigilant on, that we've got to be aware of. And one of those is after-school programs, summer school programs. So these threats that come in, and I've said it before, we investigate them no matter where they come from, how they get to us, the age of those making the threats, the credibility of the threat. We take it from A to Z. So here's an example. We had an individual in a southern area school, 15 years old, text a message that they feel suicidal, and we know that suicidal people can do some things that they feel others should pay the price. And in this case, there were some threats made to others. We're able to secure that individual, get them the help they need, do searches of the home. It also involved our friends over at Lapeer County where this individual lived. So that is a 15-year-old that made a threat. Another one is a 4th grader that made a statement to shoot up the school with an AK-47, 4th grade. And they told it to another classmate who was in the 3rd grade that was brave enough to come forward. We worked well with the parents. Clearly, this is a joint effort, as I've said before. But again, it's a southern school in the county. The 4th grader, when spoken to, said that they were quoting some lyrics of a song, but yet we run it all the way to the end. We want to make sure that was unfounded and there's no significant threat. The next one is one that is a 13-year-old that made a threat that they're going to bring a gun, and it was a juvenile. We actually searched the house and found that there was a weapon, but it was a BB gun that looked like a real gun that was non-functional. The other threat that we had came in by social media that was really just squashed right out of the gate. But I want to assure the parents out there and staff that it is important we work together. We have what's called mandatory reporting. So if you're a teacher or you work in the school and you hear anything, you've got a duty to come forward and call 911. I'm working with Chief Lipe out of Grand Blanc City. He's the president of the Genesee County Area Chiefs of Police, and we're working together with Prosecutor Layton as well as our superintendents here in the county and the city, that we have a protocol that all these threats, no matter where they come and to what school, that we go from what we hear all the way to the end to make sure that we eliminate all potential. So I want to assure folks that there are great sheriffs and chiefs out there that are doing it. We're getting better at it every single day. This office doesn't take a single threat lightly. We have 11 SROs throughout the county. We're adding more. We're working with our schools, even our partner SROs, because we're not the only agency that has them. The other thing I want to point out to you is we had a significant amount of runaways. Just in the last 6 days, we had 5 runaways. We had a 15-year-old, a 15-year-old, and 2 14s, and a 13-year-old, all of which were returned within 2 hours. But some of the circumstances that these teenagers are in are very difficult circumstances. It involves foster care. It involves, some caregiving by guardians. If you've ever been moved to try to take care of a vulnerable person, and a child is one that comes to your mind, then you take action on that. To be a foster parent that can give the love that's needed, that can work with maybe whaleys, where these kids are living, and volunteer, but be a mentor, big brothers, big sisters. Of the 5 runaways that just this office dealt with, even though they were returned, they have some significant needs. So I would encourage you, if you're moved by that, if you're inspired to be a part of it, they need you. They need your love. They need your attention. They need somebody. And they run away because it's a symptom of a greater problem. And again, no matter the date and time, we work to get them restored. One of these runaways was in Fenton Township. And she was 14 years old. And she was contacted by an individual on Snapchat. And that individual picked her up from Sterling Heights. He's 17 years old. Drove her down to Sterling Heights. We worked with our friends down there in Macomb County. And he was hiding her out. And why hiding her out, we didn't know what was going on. If she was in harm's way, was she not? The parents were obviously in a panic. And we were able to find her being hidden out in a trailer. Now, we're working with Sterling Heights Police Department to see if there's charges on the 17-year-old back and forth. This victim has already been interviewed by a forensic interviewer. But it's important that we follow these leads, because as we did before on Ghost, when we first started it, it's not uncommon that runaways or vulnerable juveniles are sucked into the human trafficking model. And the reason I bring that up is because if you want to know more about that, which everybody should, and you want to be involved with Ghost, you want to be involved with what we're doing, rescuing, doing enforcement, knowing what grooming is, the best way to start is to be Ghost certified. Now, for those that are just watching, if you've not heard of what Ghost is, I'd encourage you to go and Google it. But we've been around since 2018, and Ghost does some really good work. But the Ghost Certified program is on our website, gcsomichigan.com, gcsomichigan.com. You can actually even Google Ghost Certified Program. It's right there on the front page. And you'll watch 3 videos that are extremely informative, well-done videos. You also have a study guide, and then you take a test. And that test is to really nail down, what does grooming look like? What is human trafficking? How can you help? And once that's done and it's auto-populated into our database, I send you a certificate. And these are just a sample of the certificates we're mailing out today. And it is a Ghost Certified certificate, really well done. It's addressed right to you. It's in a nice professional folder. And you also have Ghost stickers that come with it. So you put that sticker either on your house or on your car or in your business, and it sends a message that you know what to look out for, that you're a champion, a partner in fighting human trafficking. So this is just a sample of the whole stack that we're mailing out today. It's part of what we do to include partners across the county and around the state and around the nation to fight human trafficking. Because we know that it's not just here in Genesee County. We know that our perpetrators are not just here from Genesee County. In fact, we've worked in 42 counties in the last year and a half. The sheriff's office here, 42 different sheriffs we've worked hand in hand with, because we have a direct connect to people that are coming to Genesee County as predators. And we have people from Genesee County going elsewhere. But also that includes other states. Peter Pagic, go back and Google that name. It really brought to light, even just this year, that people from out of state can travel. So we work with our friends at Flint Bishop. We work with our friends at Detroit Metro. We send teams out to Las Vegas. Las Vegas sends teams here. We send teams to Kansas City. Kansas City works with us. Homeland Security, FBI, ATF. I mean, this is a network. In fact, next Wednesday, I'm going to highlight 16 arrests that Ghost has worked with other agencies, and we're going to identify some of the key players, one of which is a police officer, a former police officer, who knew exactly what was going on and even said to the chatter that I'm a police officer, this could ruin my career, and they still showed up. That's embarrassing to our profession. It's a disgrace to people that wear that badge and uniform that do that. We have another individual who was not a police officer, but had a high-ranking position in a local company and claimed he was an officer because he wanted sex from a 15-year-old for free. I'm going to identify who that guy was too. So we've got 16 that we're going to talk about. I really encourage you to do the Ghost Certified program. Again, gcsomichigan.com. I also want you to know that it's hot out. So we always proactively make sure that we're taking care of our homeless and vulnerable. So all our senior centers are open as cooling centers. All the homeless shelters are open as cooling centers. If you see somebody on the side of the road that looks like they're in distress, just call 911. We'll get them, make sure that they're not dehydrated or they're not hypoglycemic. But 96, 97 degrees, you can dehydrate rather quickly, especially if you're vulnerable, you have some type of other medical conditions. I want to talk to you about June 28th. June 28th at Lake Fenton High School. This is for my Fenton Township folks. Anybody who wants to come to do boater safety. We did it last year. We did 2 of them. Mad success. We have up to 100 people that we are training boater safety from 12 to 2 on June 28th. We're only talking 2 weeks. It's right there at the Lake Fenton High School. Our Marine Division is going to teach. You're also going to learn CPR through our Paramedic Division. You're also going to be able to learn how to stop the bleed, and you're going to learn boater safety laws. And this is for anybody that needs a boater safety card to ride a jet ski by themselves, or you're trying to figure out, I just bought this boat, I don't know the rules of the water because they are totally different. You come to that class, June 28th, up to 100. Just show up. Doesn't cost you anything. Your tax dollars already paid for it. It's my gift to you. Our depths are going to be there. The dive team is going to be there. It was a great success, as I said last year. June 28th, just show up and be a part of it. I also want to talk to you about the upcoming briefing for next week. I would love to see, as we close out, a real investment into Ghost certifications. So I'm pushing that because the more eyes and ears we have out there, the more wire-works we find, the more people we hold accountable. And so I need your help. I appreciate you always being supportive. Where I go and where I travel, people love Ignite. They love Ghost. They love how we protect the animals. I love working with my fellow law enforcement professionals, but it's going to take all of us. So go there, become Ghost certified. I'll report as to how many people in the last 7 days have become Ghost certified next week. But I also want you to tune in next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Obviously, we're going to be doing some stories before then, but there's a big media blast that we're going to do on these 16 individuals that Ghost has been involved with that span throughout Michigan, including Genesee County, Las Vegas, and Kansas City. So until then, be safe, take care, and I'll see you then.